Wait for it to record again. I should have practiced that one first, shouldn't I? So on your bookings, so once we've got those types of things, what we would like to do is show a price for a particular booking. And what I'd say is if we gave different price levels to a child, an adult, or a OAP, then we could put a price in here, or we can set a report up later and do it. So it's up to you how you do it. And it might be that if you're adding extras and things, it might be more pertinent on a report later. But one other thing we wanted to do is, if I look at my bookings, I've now got 2 bookings for the 17th, seat number 1 and seat number 15. If I go to bookings and I say on the 17th, I'm going to go and create a new booking. It's going to be on the 17th. And it still gives me a choice of all the seats. And what I want it to do is only show me seats that are available. But if I'm doing a whole year, how can I do this? And this is a little bit more long-winded because we have to do it through a series of queries. Because what I want to do is look up a query on here, and find out the date first. And then from the dates that I'm picking up, I want to find out how many seats are left. So I'm going to have to do 2 queries for this. So that's what I'm going to show you first. So I'll close these off. Nope. Close it off. So first of all, I'm going to go to queries and I'm going to say create, and I'm going to create a query wizard. And the first thing I'm going to do is just a basic query wizard on the bookings table. So all of it, and next, and finish. And that's it. Just brings back all the data. That's fine. I'm going to go to design. So remember, my queries in here are showing me all these sort of elements that I can look up. And what I want to do to begin with is, on my query, I want it to be on date. And we know if I want to ask for a date, I just have to say, put square brackets in, and I say, enter a date. And my phone is making weird noise, sorry about that. Enter a date. And if I save that and then run it, it'll ask me for a date first, and I can say 17th of the 6th, because I know I've got 2 bookings for this date. And okay, and it should bring me back those 2. Okay, so it's brought those 2. I think this one might be an empty one that we half started, but we haven't finished yet. So there we go. So I've got those back. So so now my queries just got a basic query, and it's asking me the date. So I can close off. But I want to be able to use this query in another query. So let's go and have a look. What I'm going to do is, what I want to say is, once I've picked the date, I then want to check it against, I want to look at the bus seating and compare it with all the bookings on that date and only give me the ones that aren't there. So you can see where we're going with this. So for your dentist, it's going to be similar. If you set out all your times you don't have to do it per day, just for a generic day. That would be similar to this. So I've got my bus seats on a generic day set out, and I've got my bookings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another query. This time I'm going to find an unmatched query. So this is the find unmatched, and this is comparing the 2 tables. So, okay. So this starts with which table or query contains the records you want in the query results. Well, I want the bus seats back that aren't in the booking. So I'm going to go from bus, next. And which one am I going to compare it with? Well, I'm going to compare it with bookings. But if I compare it with bookings, it's going to compare all the bookings. And I only want to compare it with one date of bookings. So instead of picking from a table, I'm going to pick it from a query. And I'm going to pick it from my bookings query that I've just booked. So this bookings query has got a date I'm asking for. And then that's the one I want to compare it with. Next. And this one, select the matching field. So I need to know which one is. So the bus ID matches seat number. So I haven't named this overly well, have I? And once we've got it, we need to make sure that we're showing which one we're looking at. So we click that and you can see it's down here, matching fields. This is not equal to that one. And what fields do you want to see in your query results? Well, I'll have all of them for now. And next. And that's it, finished. So it's running now. So if I put in the 17th, of the 6th. So it should bring me back a query with 2 seats or 3 seats missing, maybe. So the first seat is missing, row 1, seat 1, and row 4 and seat 3 is missing, and that's it. The others are there. So it's taken away those 2 bookings that were already there. Well, we can test that this is still working. Booking. So in here, and I'm going to go and create a new record. And again, creating buttons on here would be much nicer than these little pathetic buttons down here. So I'm going to create some more for the 17th, and we're going to go on here. Or take. I know that 1 is taken, so I'll take number seat 2 for adults, and because I do Jane, and another one. We go for the 17th again, and we'll take seat 3. And we'll take another one off the 17th. Take another one from the middle somewhere. So row 2, seat 1, I'll take that one as well. Again, we'll have child for this one. So that's fine. So I've created some more bookings. And if I go and have a look at, let's go and have a look at my bookings table. So this is the table with the raw data. You can see now I've got quite a lot of bookings in there for the 17th. If I go to my query now, and I'll look at my bus without matching queries, so I'm just going to close it off. So it's asking me for the date. So if I say the 1st of June, I think that was the one I've got 1 date for, is it? And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So no seats booked on that date. So all seats are free. If, however, I run the same one again, I put the 17th in, where hopefully it's going to filter out some of those seats. I shouldn't have 16 seats available. I should only have the ones that are left. You can say it's taken most of row 1, the beginning of row 2, and 1 from row 4. So it's removed the bookings where those seats were there. So I could fill that bus up and it would say I'd have no more seats available for that bus. So this is an unmatched query. So how can I use this now in my form? Because I've got this form, and this is great, but it shows me seat number, and it's showing me all the seats. And really, I want this to come from the query rather than from the directly from the table. So let's go and have a look, see if we can do that. We're going to go into design view on the form in here. What I want to do is I want it to pick up the date from the form here, and then in here it's going to use that query instead. So why have I got my, just going to close that off again. So no, I don't want to save. There's something I forgot there. Design view and I'm trying to remember if I do this in my lookup. I can probably do it in the lookup instead, actually. But I'm going to go to a couple of things. So the first thing I'm going to do is the date that I select on the form is the one that I want this query to look at, which is a little bit kind of backwards because I'm saying, well, I want the query to look at that and then use the query in here. So in this query, as long as I'm not using this query for anything else, I can go in and I can design view. And where I've said enter a date, so I'm entering it, I'm actually going to go and get the date from a form. Now this is a little bit weird, but I click on it and I can go to build. So right click and build, and brings this window up again, so the expression builder. And I'm going to go through my database here. So my database, instead of tables this time, I'm going to go for forms. And I'm going to say all loaded forms, so it looks at all of them. So I've only got bookings open anyway. And so I'm going to take the dates from a field on this form. So we're going to look down through and find the date. So it's not the label, but it is the date, and I want the value. So now that query is going to take the date from the form, whichever is open. There's a couple more things I need to do to make sure that's activated. I'm going to now go into my bookings, and I'll save that first. Save that. Close that off, and into my bookings table, and we'll go to design view. And let's just have a quick look up seat number. So at the minute we've said look up from the bus table. Well, actually, let's go and change that. So right the way along here, And let's say bus without matching bookings query. So this time it's going to look up from the query instead of directly from the table. That query is looking at the other query, which is looking at the date on the form. We've just got one more step to do. So I can save that. Yes, I want to save that one. And then in the bookings form, in the design view, on this date field, I need to refresh. If I don't refresh, it's just going to remember for this drop down the date that comes on when I very first open the form. And that might be the last booking that I clicked on, or it might be today's date by default. But there we go. Okay. So under date, I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to see at the top we've got formats, data, events, and I want to create an event for this. And what I'm going to do is look at the events I've got. Well, I want to do it when I leave that field. So it's after I've updated the date and after I've selected. So on exit of that field, and I'm just going to click in an event procedure, and I can click on those dots and it'll open up the event procedure. We don't need loads of code in here. Don't worry about this. This is Visual Basic code. This is what we call a code stub, or it's a function or a sub procedure. And I'm literally just going to indent it a bit. And I'm going to say me dot. I think it just should be refresh. Let's do that like that. I don't need any brackets or anything. Do I need brackets on that? I think it's just like that. So, and I'm going to save that. So I can just file, save. So this has opened up a new Visual Basic. It's what we call VBA, so Visual Basic for application. So it's like adding on a little bit of script. And so that script is attached now to that button. And what that allows it to do is update the date on the form each time I run it. You know what? We've changed it since we've done this, so I just need to redo that. This query was done before, so we're just going to that one. My apologies. We just need to refresh this query. So the easiest way to do it is just to delete it, start again. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go create. Usually you just do it all in one, but I wanted to kind of show you in bits so you can see it happening. But this time we're going to go from the unmatched query. We want to show the buses. We want to compare it with the bookings. Query, sorry. The query. And it is the bookings query that we're comparing it with. And we want to show seat ID against seat number. Just make sure that's showing there. And finish. So now hopefully that's picking up with data. It might not have done that before. Go back to our bookings form, bookings table, and in our bookings table, so close that off. Save that for a minute. Go back to design view on here and make sure that our seat number is looking up our, is it still called? Yep, so just going to go and drop down and make sure it is clicking again in case it's clicked the old one. So that's fine. And we should be there. So that should be everything. Save that. Click on our bookings design view, and just to make sure, so on here, should just be looking up seat number. So see, row source here is from bus, and I want it to be from bus without matching bookings query. It might just have been that right at the beginning. So bus without matching bookings query. So I'm taking it from a query instead of from a bus, finding column. So that should be it. So I think on the format, column count is 2, and I can show 0 and 5 on there, which is making the first column not show. So I don't want to show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 16. It doesn't really make much sense. And let's do that. So now, once more with feeling. Okay, let's close it off and let's go for it. So first of all, I'm going to pick from the first to begin with, or the second. I don't think I've got any on the second. Should show me. Oh, so it's taken 1 away. So I have actually booked 1 on the second. So we'll take another one. So 2, adults, and that wasn't the new record. I've just changed the record. But there we go. New record in here. And we go for the second again. So I may just have changed that record. So I'll change it from the seat 1 to seat 2. We'll go back to seat 1 as well. And we'll have, we'll go for Harry. But now here's the moment of truth, the 17th. Let's see how many seats we've got left on the 17th. And it's cut away the seats. So we've only got two left on row 1. One's gone from row 2. 2 from row 2, sorry. And they're all there for row 3, and one's gone from row 4. So let's take all of row 3 out, or all of row 2 out, so we need a couple more to do, just to make sure that this is working. So now the next time I come back on here, we should only have 1 seat left for row 2, so please work. So 17th, row 2, 1 seat left. Seat 4, row 2, and child. So what we've managed to do, it's a little bit long-winded, but we've created the queries and we've just gone through and removed them from there, so that when I come on here, I go for the 17th again, I'll have no seats left on row 2. It's only showing me what's available. I haven't got lots of data in there. When you look at it, the bus table, I'm not putting a record for every appointment or every bus seat for every bus for every day. I'm just putting a generic bus seats, and then I'm comparing that with a query about the day. So it just looks unmatches that day. So when I look at a different day, it's bringing back the available seats. Okay, well, we'll stop that before I make any more mistakes.